As flowers and balloons are laid, many wonder just who could do this. It was a resounding question on the lips of anyone who saw the images from Newtown, Connecticut. 28 people dead, 20 of them children. The shooter identified as 20-year-old Adam Lanza.
In December 2012, a crime so monstrous that it shocked and disgusted the world took place. A 20-year-old named Adam Lanza would storm into Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut and attack the most sacred of humanity, children. 20 children and 7 adults met their end at his hands before he took his own miserable life. Adam was born in 1992 and grew up in a privileged yet broken home. His divorced mother looked after him and gave him all the attention in the world, as her alimony payments meant she did not have to work. It has been argued that this helped create a spoiled and needy child in Adam. His codependency on his mother also meant he developed poor social skills, had developmental delays, and even had OCD. For the first 3 years of his life, he did not speak at all. Adam was later classified as having Asperger's syndrome and anorexia. His issues became noticeable in his oddly specific behaviours. He would only eat if his food was prepared in a certain way, highlighting his highly obsessive behaviours. He also did not enjoy physical contact such as hugs or kisses and was overly sensitive to odours. Adam also would avoid interacting with people his own age, preferring a solitary lifestyle. His mother would allow him to skip school when he didn't feel like going, making him increasingly isolated as he grew up. One worrying warning sign came in the form of a book he wrote with a friend whilst at Sandy Hook Elementary. The book was called The Big Book of Granny, and rather than containing wholesome or funny stories about a grandmother, it was filled with themes of murder, cannibalism, and taxidermy of human corpses. Middle school was even worse for Adam. He became a loner and fell behind on his schoolwork. His mother and brother suspected he was bullied, but no incidents were ever brought up. He also continued to write violent stories, and one of his teachers raised concerns with the principal. After his Asperger's diagnosis, homeschooling was recommended, which meant he was withdrawn from socialising entirely. However, one thing he did enjoy doing and became obsessed about was shooting. His own mother would sadly introduce him to guns, and a sick compulsion gripped him. She took him to shooting ranges and he became highly skilled as a marksman. As he got older, he began spending more and more time on his own playing computer games and researching firearms and shooting strategies. However, he soon developed an interest in shootings and mass murder. In his isolated bubble, this became his whole world. Adam was so knowledgeable about mass shootings that he even made edits to several Wikipedia pages. He was completely infatuated with gun crimes, and he began to fantasize about committing an attack himself. All the while, his OCD was ramping up. He continuously washed his hands and changed his socks up to 20 times a day. He also obsessed over a dance video game, and footage later emerged showing he was extremely good at it. Evidence of the high amount of time he spent playing it. He even became known as the Dance Dance Revolution Kid. Recently, a radio interview featuring Adam Lanza was unearthed, which featured him sympathising with Travis the chimp, a pet that brutalised its owner's friend. He also did not appear to be as socially and educationally inept as one may think. He appeared to be deeply philosophical. The host even commented on how well he articulated his points.
Look what civilization did to him. It had the same exact effect on him as it has on humans. He was profoundly sick. in every sense of the term, and he had to resort to these surrogate activities like watching baseball and looking at pictures on a computer screen and taking Xanax. He was a complete mess. And his attack wasn't simply because he was a senselessly violent, impulsive chimp, which was how his behavior was universally portrayed. Immediately before his attack, he had desperately been wanting his owner to drive him somewhere, and the best reason I can think of for why he would want that, looking at his entire life, would be that some little thing he experienced was the last straw, and he was overwhelmed by the life that he had, and he wanted to get out of it by changing his environment, and the best way that he knew how to deal with that was by getting his owner to drive him somewhere else.
Yeah.
And when his owner's friend arrived, he knew that she was trying to coax him back into his life of domestication, and he couldn't handle that, so he attacked her and anyone else who approached him. And dismissing his attack as simply being the senseless, violent impulsiveness of a chimp instead of a human is wishful thinking at best. His attack can be seen entirely parallel to the attacks, random acts of violence that you bring up on your show every week, committed by humans, which the mainstream also has no explanation for. And if he's an actual human, I just don't think it would be such a stretch to say that he very well could have been a teenage mall shooter or something like that.
Adam also found his way back into the educational system by attending high school, and he graduated in 2009. He attended university for just 1 month until an unknown incident made him quit. He became mute again, stopped eating, hid his face, and retreated into his bedroom. Towards the end of his life, he even began to retreat from his main contact, his mother. His brother had moved away for work, and it has been reported that he only communicated with his mother via email, even though they stayed in the same house. One theory as to why Adam was so detached from society suggests that he was a pedophile. This is because an essay written by him argued that pedophilia was not morally wrong and should not be illegal. When he finally committed the atrocity, the first victim was his own mother, the one that had given him life and the one that introduced him to guns. He shot her as she slept, then stole her car, drove it to the elementary school, and shot his way into the school via a glass window pane. He brought with him a 12-gauge automatic shotgun, a semi-automatic rifle, and 2 semi-automatic handguns. However, before entering the school, he left the shotgun behind. Remorselessly, like a computer game character, he went down the hallways, shooting anyone in sight. He put earplugs in to deafen any sound and went from classroom to classroom, mowing down people. 20 children aged between 6 and 7 years old and 6 adult staff members met their demise at his hands. In a cowardly act, he then turned the gun on himself rather than face the police who were pulling up outside. A solid motive has never been discovered for his crime. However, speculations have been made. His computer hard drive was completely destroyed, eliminating any clues to a motive. Some believe he was merely trying to achieve some kind of infamy and legacy in an otherwise unremarkable life. It has also been suggested that the root of most mass shooters is deep narcissism. They believe themselves so superior and important to the rest of humanity that they are entitled to take other people's lives away. If life does not supply them the attention and admiration they feel they deserve, they will simply force the world to recognise them by wicked means. Perhaps one of the ways to curb mass shootings is to simply not give shooters any attention. Perhaps there should be a blanket rule to not give any press coverage to killers to prevent the sick idolisation and attention that spree killers seem to garner. Simply reporting the crime and ignoring the perpetrator.